Yeah, perfect.
I've been isolated for weeks. So.
Okay, welcome back. Yeah. Well, I'm Allison Moritz. I work at the Institute on Aging. Me too. I'm biased. But I am the program director for our enrichment center. So that's the Dementia Day program.
My husband is in it.
No way. Who is your husband?
Charlie Wallace. I don't think you.
Was it? Oh, it was a while ago because he passed 20 years ago.
Karen was there.
Oh, so that was
Way back.
Way
And
back.
Judy, somebody.
Yeah. So you know a little bit about it and the
I
purpose
do.
of day program.
Loved
Yeah. It's great. It's really great because not only do we help the people that come, it's also that respite and that sort of
Right.
extra care for the caregiver.
And he went 6 days a week at that time, and the VA paid for it.
Oh, we still have that contract. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, I should be passing the mic. All right, so I'll finish my introduction, then we'll make it sort of more official. And when Joyce was speaking, she was referring to a co-op that we have. So that's where caregivers come and work on site, and then they get a discounted rate. So they only pay half, and then they get a community and education and that sort of thing. But it's all part of the caregiver care and taking care of ourselves. So that's my story. Let me hear
My story.
your story.
It's your turn, Jeff.
Oh gosh. Where to start? I guess I heard you say all the people you took care of. So mine started with a friend from church, went to an outside person, then another friend from church, and then my ex-husband died in my house. I took care of him. My parents. Then I had another client who died 3 weeks ago, and then another one who died last week.
Oh my God.
So
Are you a nurse?
I'm a trained CNA, but lapsed, and I've just been doing this. This is what I love to do. I'm exhausted.
You're exhausted. I would think
Retired?
so.
Is that what you said? I heard tired. I'm
No,
tired.
I don't
I told everyone I was retired, so I'm trying to
You're
live up
working
to
twice
that.
as hard.
Yeah, I'm just trying to honor that, and it feels weird. It feels bad in a way, but also good. I mean, they say you have to take care of yourself first, and you don't. You can take care of a lot of people and not take care of yourself, but I don't think you last as
Right.
long. So now it's time. So, yeah, anyway, that's
Go ahead and say it again into the mic.
Yes.
For the record.
Say, okay. Who I am?
Yeah, who you are, and
I'm Ethel Wallace, and I took care of my husband with Alzheimer's. I've been around for a long time. I'm shooting 90 in September, and my husband's been gone for 22 years, but I still am involved with the Alzheimer's support group in South San Francisco, and it's been just an interesting life for me because I took care of my mom, cancer, my daughter with glioblastoma brain tumor, and I took care of my father-in-law for a short time, and that's kind of been my life with 4 children besides through the years, and I'm out here to help anybody I can when I can, and I love the Institute on Aging because that was my husband was in there for many years, and I was also on the board for a very short time. So that's my story, and I have funny stories if you want to hear them.
everything. Yeah.
Okay, Charlie used to look at the man in the mirror, and he would say something like, I can't say it, you. S-O-B, I believe is the word. Yeah. Get out of my house. So I said, you better be nice to that guy because he's the guy who watches the house when we're gone. So that worked out really well for a while. And then he's in the mirror and he said his words, and I said, oh, no, he really likes to sing, so why don't you sing with him? So he'd sit in front of the mirror like Bing Crosby and go, ba-ba-ba-boo, that kind of stuff.
So clever, I love that.
And the next one was that the man was in a funny face contest. And I said, you make much better funny faces than he does. So he spent the next 10, 15 minutes making faces in the mirror. So that was one of my favorites. And I'm trying to think of other stuff. We had an accident in the bathtub, giving him a shower, and he was like a child with his toes in the mud. And that was very exciting. That was a mess. But he laughed. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Yeah. And we just, well, I believe that you have to have a sense of humor to survive. And he used to stand behind me really close. So I just turn around and dance with him and sing a song and dance him out of the way so I could get done what I had to do. And one of the interesting things I found, being it was a second marriage, his children weren't crazy about me. One of them especially. But they came down to give me respite. And it took all 3 children to do what I did every day. And they finally liked me.
That's all it takes. Yeah.
So that's kind of how my life went.
Wow. Well, I think just using humor and play is huge because you're not going to get
music.
Yeah. Because you're not going to get out of these situations. He's not going to stop coming up behind you or having accidents in the tub, and it's how you react and how you meet it, I think.
Right.
That helps you get that.
I think the hardest part is to accept. Accept this is what it is, and take one day at a time.
Yeah, I work with a lot of families that want to change it, and even far in, they'll still want to find the cure. How do I fix
he's better
them
today?
Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, right.
It's good to have that hope, but I think that radical
but the
acceptance
realization is not there.
Yeah.
My second to the last client was the one that was doing that. Oh, I'm better today. She had a different neurological disease that was robbing her physically rather than mentally at that point. I suppose eventually that would have happened, but she was losing the use of one side of her body gradually. And she kept, she'd wake up in the morning and say, oh, I think I'm better today. Look. And she'd try to show me what she could do.
Yeah, you are.
And it was like, I encouraged her. I said, let's do more of those exercises that got you there. But it was, when they talked about the grieving, it was like every day there was a little less and a little less.
The long goodbye.
Yeah, it was 2 years.
I find it interesting that I've never cried over Charlie's dying. Because I think I cried all those years. And it was a relief, and a lot of people don't want to face it and say, he's gone, it's over.
Yeah.
I think that part's really hard also.
You have to have a really good attitude towards death,
Right.
an acceptance of that's a fact of life. And a lot of people, even caregivers, the 2 women that helped me from time to time, didn't want anything to do with that. Don't talk about dying. Don't talk about
death.
Don't talk about death. Yeah.
Yeah.
How could she, the client, even talk about it? It just would upset them no end. And
Wow.
okay,
Yeah.
they're trained, but they're not getting it.
They're not in it.
They're not quite in it.
Right. I think that, accepting it, turning 90, accepting the fact that, I might not be here in 5 years. I hope I am, but maybe not, and just accept, well, that's life. And just in the last 2 months, I've lost 5 friends because of the age, because of my age. Yeah. And so accepting life and trying not to expect from people. I just heard a thing today. When you expect, also you will have,
It'll come back.
it'll come back.
Yeah.
Right. If not now, in the middle of the night.
No, I just wrote it for somebody. I like to collect sayings.
Yeah, they
Okay,
help.
my favorite is no amount of grief will change the past, and no amount of anxiety will change the future.
I like that one.
I do too. I do too.
And worry's like sitting in a rocking chair. It keeps you moving, but it doesn't get you anywhere. And I wish I could remember the one I just heard.
Something about expectation.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Expectation brings disappointment. That's it. Expectation brings disappointment.
Yeah, and I think Joyce touched on that too. When it was sort of, what can you expect from other people? What happens when friends
don't
fall off? And
expect.
maybe don't set up expectations. I mean, there is that value in asking for help and
Right.
reaching out and being very clear about it, but also having expectations that are reasonable and
Well, that's
realistic.
why I sent up the thing about when somebody asks you if you want to
was
help.
you.
That
Yeah.
was me. Yeah. If somebody wants to help,
Have a list.
to have a list and just say,
Oh, yeah.
pick one.
Right? Yeah.
I like that. I'm making a list for me.
Yeah, I've got one
this is
for my
good.
kids already. Yeah.
I'm the mateless, childless, what's going to happen to my life now person. It's like I don't have anybody coming up behind me to support.
Yeah.
I have the blessing of having 3 granddaughters that are nurses.
Oh,
so
wow.
somebody better
Somebody-
take good care of me.
Sit in here.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, and it's such a cliched question in a lot of ways, but it's worth your expert opinions. What do you do to take care of yourselves?
I swim 2 times a week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Dang. Where do you
And
swim?
Out at Pomeroy Pool
Nice.
for a therapeutic pool. Yeah, and I dance during commercials.
I love
Why not? Keep moving, I say, and socialize. I'm involved with the Excelsior District clubs. There's a few of us around. We work at McLaren Park, at Jerry Garcia Theater, and clean up the park sometimes. And we've done beautification things in the neighborhood. I love that. And I have good friends, and still have to say I'm the elder in the bunch. It's all right. I'm still moving.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and say, okay, you gave me another day. What do you want me to do with it?
I love it. It's great. Yeah, purpose. I mean,
Excuse me.
it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed by being awake.
Yeah.
And I do all my own housework and gardening and everything. As long as I can.
How about you? How do you take care?
Well, I'm a professional. I still am. I can still claim I'm a professional dancer, and so even when I couldn't perform anymore, I taught. And even through COVID, I went on Zoom and I taught 7 classes a week.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
able to even do them at my client's house, which was nice. So that would be my break. My 1 hour break in the day was to, excuse me, I have to go teach a class, and I'd make sure she was occupied and stuff.
What kind
And
of dancing did you do?
I was a ballerina, a professional ballet dancer and
understand.
stuff. But what I teach now is balance and range of motion
Oh, I
to
need
seniors, and I
balance.
teach it at the senior center. And then
Where?
In Pinole. I live on the other side of the bay. But also, then I started a floor class, so we were down on the floor, and then I started a stretch for yoga class. I watched what they were teaching them, the people in the yoga class at the senior center, and they were struggling to achieve these positions, and the teacher was like, okay, now do this, and I'm going, they need to stretch this before they can do that, and so I just devised a class of,
great.
just do these stretches, and then you'll be able to do that pose.
Go to her class.
Me too.
I'm on the injured bench right now, but that's what I was doing, and that was my basically my relief. And then 2 days a week I got to go home to my own house where I would be with my bird and maybe do some gardening or something like that. But I hadn't had a vacation for 5 or 6 years, and finally FCA, I found out about respite, and they gave me 10 days of help, and I went on a road trip. And I went to Oregon, drove around, and I didn't have a plan. I mean, I had a place that I could go, reserved, but I didn't have to get there too fast, and I could take day trips and just, it was great. It was so glorious. That was 2 years ago. So I was like, okay, so that was it. And now that I'm retired, camping is on the list, and traveling. And I love to travel, but I've always, I can't go. I can't take that much time off. I have a cousin in New Zealand. I have friends in England. I lived abroad for 9 years, so
go for it.
I want to go while I still can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but dancing is definitely take care of my soul sort of experience.
Right.
And during COVID, the place I used to go closed. It was a place, an open floor dance, where like 50 people in a room dancing or doing whatever they wanted to do. There was no judgment, no direction, just come. And it was beautiful. There are a couple of psychologists run the program, and I did that every Saturday. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great.
I think they're starting to open now. So
I guess I have to move to Pinole.
oh, that's in San Rafael. It's really
that's
nice.
in San Rafael?
Yeah, but and I can do Zoom.
I don't drive
You don't do
anymore,
Zoom?
so-
Do you do Zoom? Because
I'll try anything once.
I'll get your email address and I'll send you a Zoom invite for a class.
Oh, no, I don't see that.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of Zooming.
Oh, Zoom.
I was moving.
How about, do you ever watch YouTube things?
No.
You don't do any of that stuff? Yeah, it makes it hard. But I found senior centers to be a pretty good resource that I had never paid attention to. And I mean, pools, activities. I'm just starting to look at the things that they offer besides what I do,
Yeah.
And I started it because my father was going there and the teacher quit.
Oh,
And I said, well, he needs this, so I guess I better do it.
yeah, right.
And that's
right.
like, 10 years ago or something.
Help where you can.
Yeah, and it was fun, and 30
And
people
and
coming.
seniors are fun, actually,
They are.
and wise usually.
Yeah, I've made some really good friends.
Not speaking for myself.
Oh yes, you're in that group, definitely. So, yeah.
Up at Crocker Amazon Park, we have exercise on Fridays, which is just starting up again because the kids were using the building during the summer.
Oh, okay.
But they're back to school, so we can have an exercise class. So I'll swim twice a week and exercise every once.
So it sounds like just staying busy, a lot of
busy.
bringing this movement, connection to community.
Right.
It's huge. It's funny because now science is just catching up, and they're kind of, studies show, but we know this.
We
know
were,
this
yeah.
our lives.
10 things that'll make your life longer, and I'm going, I do that, I
Right.
do that, I do that, I don't do that, I do that. It's like, okay.
And music is so important.
Vital. Absolutely.
And especially if you can get happy music.
Yeah.
Right.
But I want to say, is it KMBR that does classical?
That
But just
sounds
to have it
right.
on in the background, and it's very
KDFC
calming.
and
Music
Yeah.
can be calming.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, can you guys speak a little to preventing burnout? Because there's that sort of what we do proactively, but what if when you find yourselves in those situations where you are burnt out, or even like you said, tired, not retired?
Yeah. And
What then?
that's when I contacted
Dance.
FCA. I was just about at my end, and I just thought, I don't know what this is. I've never felt this way before. I mean, I like to work. I like to do, let me do it all, 24/7, and so that's when, and I forget how I made the contact, but when I discovered that, and then through that, since we had to hire someone to come in, then I found out that they could stay, and so they became there were 3 of us actually, so she needed 24/7 care. I was her night person and half the day, and then these other 2 people alternated. And
Yeah, I didn't
but
know I
going
was...
away from it, I needed distance. I couldn't just stay home.
Right.
I would have just done housework or yard work or
Right.
busy. I had to remove myself completely.
I didn't realize I was burnt out. And my kids said, Mom, you can't, and his kids said, Mom, you can't do this anymore. And that's when I placed him. So he was in a home for 5 years, but I went every day. But I went home to my house. So I never felt really burnt out.
But they
And he was in a
recognized.
good place, and I liked all the people, and I had fun, kind of. There was one woman there who was a mathematician in her real life. So she would walk around going 4, 7, 9, 4, 2, 3, 9, and she'd be just in, and she was getting anxious, and I said, oh, Ruth, it's okay. It's 5, 4, 2, and I took care of it.
She's like, oh, finally,
You are
somebody.
great.
You know,
I
it's
know,
just
you
like-
got these
Stop getting
great-
old because I want you to take care of me.
Right?
You have to wait
Thank
for
you.
me. Wait for
You
me.
can come volunteer at the emergency center.
That's because I don't know if you know who Leo Buscaglia was.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Love
Leo
him.
Buscaglia. Yeah, and I picked up a saying from him over 20 years ago, and it was, I love it when people say I'm crazy. It gives me a lot of leeway from my behavior.
That.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And I'm a little off the wall, but I love being that way.
Well, and Ethel, let me ask you, did you just kind of come to these techniques and tricks on your own? Did you do training officially?
No official training.
Experiential?
I'm just
Trial
crazy.
and error? You're just crazy. That's the secret.
Perfect.
I love life. I don't worry about stuff I can't change.
It helps. If you could bottle that.
And I try not to be expected. And that's really hard when you have kids. I mean, my baby is 60, and my oldest is 68, retired. But I try not to expect anything from them. You know, I try. They're very good. I mean, they call me and we see each other. I'm close to my kids.
Yeah.
But I try not to expect to have them do stuff and be there. And that's hard sometimes.
It is. I remember back from my gerontology training, there was great research on how people's fears changed over different phases of life. And as you're young, you fear maybe the future. What am I going to do? Is it going to be purposeful? Midlife, you kind of really fear your own death. And as we get older, the true fear becomes not wanting to be a burden to others. So how do we kind of reconcile that, particularly when asking for help or recognizing burnout, situations like that? Yeah.
Well, my kids have asked me to come, a couple of them, no, they have asked me to come and live with them. And I don't want to give up what I can still do myself. If I'm bedridden, good. If I'm not and I can get around, I want to be with me. You know, and I've fixed my house so that I can be blind or in a wheelchair and still be in my home. It's a very small house, but I've told the kids I have macular degeneration, so like I can't really see your whole face.
It's pretty good.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I've told my kids, come and visit anytime you want. Just don't move the furniture and don't be cute and put the preparation H where my toothpaste goes.
But you're just giving them ideas.
No, they're good kids. I'm a blessed family. Yeah, so I don't have anything else I can think of.
Well, as we're kind of thinking about, and I took this just so you didn't feel like you had to hold it. Yeah. As we're thinking about our pearls, sort of the takeaway. Yeah, the pearl of wisdom, because I think Monique's going to announce it. Yeah, the takeaway. What do you think is worth? Well, here.
Discussions. Please remember to write a pearl or a recommendation on that post-it, and I'll put it up on the community wall. You have 10 minutes.
All right, I'm going to have you hold it again after I just
please,
snagged
so
it from
you
you.
can write.
So the sage was, I mean, you guys are pros many times over on this, whether you want it to be or not. What do you see as sort of the takeaways, the pearls
Patience.
of wisdom?
And I'm taking humor from you.
And
Wow.
humor. Oh,
Wow.
humor and patience. Gotta laugh.
And I'm not how to phrase it concisely, but not being afraid to ask for the help.
Right. Being able to say yes and being able to say no. Right.
Because I would wait for someone to offer, and then even then I would go, oh no, I can do it myself, and instead of like,
Yeah,
going,
I did that.
yes, yes, please sit with her for an hour while I take a walk.
Please vacuum my house. Yeah.
Would you go home and feed my birds so I don't have? No, that was
Do
the
you
wrong
do
way.
windows?
How big is your house? Yeah,
Small.
My-
800 square feet.
mine is
Very
a-
small.
Perfect.
yeah.
And
Sleep. And I know that's really hard because
Yes,
that's one of the things that I totally lost out on.
Turn off the TV.
And probably if I hadn't gone home 2 nights a week to sleep,
Right.
I probably couldn't have done with
physically getting away.
physically getting away because she was up during the night. I had to be awake on one side of my head all the time.
Yeah.
Was this your mom?
No. It was my mom first, but this my other client that I
Your client.
essentially lived with for 2 years. Yeah.
And that overnight care is a doozy. 'Cause
Because it could be nightmares. It could be, getting up, having to go to the commode. Yeah, that was a
Right.
job, and
Right.
and not only. I ran into her wall one day. I got up and I dashed out of my room and ran right into the hall wall. It's like,
saying,
and
"Hold
she
them."
laughed. I laughed, and I had a black eye. It's like, okay, but the wall looks okay. So
You survived.
I had to slow down.
Yep.
It wasn't like she fell out of bed or anything. She just wanted to get up, and I just had to go. Okay, you can walk to her room. You don't have to run. It's like, but I always wanted to be there, right? Yeah. So
That's understandable.
yeah, good sleep.
And exercise, I guess.
I guess. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm going to put exercise and dance. 'Cause there's something,
different about
Move it.
dancing.
yeah, with the music component.
The music
that
component,
freedom.
yeah.
And then seeing that there are probably a lot of relatively new caregivers or people who are just starting this.
Well, the main
Sage
thing.
advice there.
Yeah, part of the main thing is
Like,
keep them clean, keep them fed. Keep
I
them
was going to
safe.
say be flexible. when she was talking about how everybody gives a different way, care gives a different way. You know, you come out of training and go, okay, my training says I have to lift her this way. My training says I have to put her clothes on this way. I'm going, you know what? That doesn't work for her. She can't do that. So put it on this way and just try it, you know. And eventually they did, or changed their way. But yeah, being flexible to the needs and not stuck in your, you know, I just graduated and we're going to do it this way because that's what I learned. So, and I know if I'd gone into an institution, you know, for a job first, I might have been more like that too. But since my first care was, I mean, all of my hires, it's always been private hire. So, you know, I was getting to know the individual, whoever it was, and doing it their way as much as I could.
Right. Another hard thing to remember is not to say, do you remember the time?
Oh.
Right? Oh, gosh, yeah.
Do you remember when?
They're not going to remember.
I don't even know how to phrase that.
Well, this is early
That's strictly
stage,
kind of Alzheimer's
because
stuff.
they will
Right,
remember
right.
their childhood maybe.
Right.
And they may be 5 years old, which you have to accept.
I'll put that as sort of meet your person where they're at.
That's good. Yeah. And know where they are. You need to know.
Meet and know,
We say sleep? Yes, we do.
I know. I'll
Make sure and double underline.
there you go. You got 4 underlines. Good.
You know, when they nap, you nap, just like with a new baby.
Boy, I was never good at that. I'm not a good
No,
napper.
'cause-
But yeah, no.
My people never
Well,
nap,
at least
except for
rest.
my dad. He's
But
the only
at
one that
least
naps.
rest.
Right. And rest is hard when your mind is racing.
And your dishes are in the sink, and you got to cook dinner, or you have to figure out how to shop, and you can't leave them, all that stuff.
All that stuff. And then, you know, that's why I always say, when we say, take care of yourself first, and it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
Well, if you take care of yourself first, then maybe they're sitting in excrement. You know, it's like, sometimes you don't get to take care of yourself first.
Right.
A lot of it's patience with yourself, forgiveness.
Oh, forgiveness.
I think
is
really
great.
forgiveness
There's
is
a good one.
big.
Right, yeah.
That goes both ways, back and forth. Yeah.
Forgive.
And knowing your limitations, and for younger people, they might not think of that so much, but certainly for the older caregivers, because our limitations do change, I think
And it's okay to have limitations.
it's okay. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
Yes.
solve those problems, yeah.
I mean, I've got wimpy arms. I could never lift the way they taught us to lift. There was just no way. I had to use other parts of my body, my legs and my back, and you know, that was just how it was. And other people, you know, other caregivers, oh, you can't do that. And I was like, well, watch me.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, limitations. So.
Right. Your limitations.
Well, we filled your card.
And some. Anything
Oh,
else?
and
Should I
some.
switch it? Well, because I could add that so it's concise down here. Now, as we report out, do either of you want to report out to the group, or do you want me to? Either way.
No, I'm
don't.
done.
Yep.
What are your limitations? There you
I'm
go.
at
Perfect.
my limit.
I always find these so interesting because as you meet people, it's so seldom that I meet someone and say what I do and have them not say, "Oh, my grandfather," or my neighbor right now. And it's just, it affects everyone.
I was talking to someone earlier, and I said, I know something about Alzheimer's written
It's
on
the
my
shirt.
on my the shirt on my forehead.
On your forehead.
'Cause I never go to a party or to a gathering of any kind.
But it
I
doesn't
end
come
up
up.
talking about Alzheimer's to somebody.
Wow.
That's got to feel kind of good.
Oh, that wasn't a complaint. I was just sharing. It just seems to happen.
Yeah.
People just get drawn and
I'm a magnet to Alzheimer's information.
when it's such an isolating thing, such an isolating job, that's
Yeah.
incredible. That you
Well,
can
the
do
young
that.
lady I was sitting next to, I'd never met before. Her name was Susan.
The other
Very-
purple shirt.
No,
Oh, the other one.
That's my friend.
Okay.
No, there was a young woman, just lost her brother, and she's taking care of her mother and father. And she broke down crying today. I gave her my phone number. I mean, what do you do? You go, call.
Here.
Day, night, I don't care. Call.
Good.
By the way, what's your name? So I don't hang up on you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Life is very interesting. Got to flow with it.
Yep. And we don't know when it's going to end, and
No.
we just make the best of what's right here now.
I had a friend. I had a friend who her mom had Alzheimer's, and when she got dressed like I am now. I mean, she put all her clothes on, but she put her panties and her bra over her clothes.
I see that. I think
And then
it's a
she
nice
put on
fashion.
all of her jewelry. She had like 10
Oh.
and her earrings. She was hysterical.
I love it. I love it.